frozen pipes can cause serious damage. That's why Absolute Restoration is giving away free faucet covers to our community while supplies last. Installing them is easy. Just slide the foam sleeve over your outdoor faucet and secure it snugly. Also remember to disconnect hoses, open cabinet doors under sinks, and let faucets drip during extreme cold. Call or text to check availability, and from our family to yours, please stay warm and protected.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather 5. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. We are looking at obviously cooler temperatures today, but much cooler ones on the way over the course of the next couple of days. And that obviously then brings the next question. Will we see something else? Well, we are debuting something for you here today that you can see only on Mississippi Live Weather, and that is Snowfinder. It is a product that looks at both snowfall accumulation and the likelihood of it occurring. It's a brand new thing. Again, you can't get this anywhere else. We'll have that for you looking at our snowfall chances. And there are actually chances there coming up here in a couple of moments. A significant drop in temperature is obviously the story. The cold air will be in place. Will something else be an issue with it? That obviously remains a big part of the question. And sunny skies are in store for the end of the week, but it's still cold on the way. Even despite what allows some sunshine to get in here, you hope it warms us up, but not a ton of warming on the way. Tonight, though, still a lingering chance for a few showers out there over the next few hours here. 45 that temperature at 6 p.m. We're 35 by 9, 29 by midnight, and then low 20s by early morning on your Thursday. That 23 with the wind out of the north at 6 miles per hour. We're talking teens for wind chills tomorrow morning. It will definitely feel cold. So outside in Hattiesburg right now, though, milder than we are up here in the northern part of the state. We show 57 degrees, and I'm showing this because the odds of Hattiesburg getting accumulating snowball-making snowfall is a lot higher than what it is up here in the northern part of the state. Just the way these next couple systems are going to come into play, the angle is just right, more so for them, not a slam dunk. But they're definitely going to have to be watching things as we work our way northward. A spot in our area, the northern part of the state, that could see flakes. We're more likely to see snowfall. And if everything shifts, could get something, would be Ackerman. Again, farther south, greater likelihoods this time around with the angle at which this storm system is coming into play for us. But not an issue for tonight or tomorrow. And outside in Alcorn County, almost always our coldest spot. You're 45 degrees up there in southern Alcorn County. Just a little glow there toward the horizon as the sun goes below it at this point in this deck of cloud cover. Only a few showers out there with that. We've had those off and on today as we've gone through the day. And the latest look here at Mississippi Live Weather Radar again shows this kind of final band of showers moving through. Only really kind of sprinkles associated with that. Of course, this front has tons and tons of cold air. That's what's kind of spilled in behind this front here and wrapping around a lot of snowfall up there for locations back out toward the Great Lakes with this. The high pressure you have towards the plains, that's again ushering in this colder air and the big drop in temperatures that are associated, that is associated with that. Checking out the temperatures here. Okay, so up there toward Canada, I got 2 to show up. That one, the farther up in the negatives. Yeah, 20s for Chicago versus down here again, we do have some 40s to 50s. So the coldest air still kind of lingering behind this. We have some time before that fully settles into our area. And I think that again kind of sets the stage for the wintry stuff is when you're kind of colder with the way you kind of get it in place. Sometimes we're able to get a little bit more of that. And it's part of the reason why we're going to be watching things closely. But high pressure again kind of moving in from the north. That is the storyline here. And then the wind is continuing to bring in colder and colder air. This shows mostly clear skies overnight. I think that's a little optimistic. I'm hoping we keep a little bit of cloud cover. That cloud cover would certainly kind of hold temperatures slightly warmer. But as you can see here for your Thursday in the pre-dawn hours and Thursday morning there, while high pressure is settling in, we are cold, but we are dry, and we're not seeing any sort of precipitation kind of figuring into that. Now, hold on. I see Georgia there saying no snow, but she's got the snowflake near that. Christina wants 12 inches of snow. I understand. Certainly, Sometimes the teachers are the ones that want it the most. And snow is the topic going forward, but not for the next 24 hours. So everybody's going to school tomorrow. Despite it being this cold, no precipitation, the moisture kind of phases on out of here. And I think with the moisture out of phase with the cold air somewhat, and that's what a lot of times happens with these systems that sweep in from the north and west, that's part of the reason why meaningful snowfall for the northern part of the state, even when there is a chance, isn't as likely. But Callie's saying, will there be any? There will be some that falls from the sky. But will it be over your house? We're debuting an exclusive thing here on Mississippi Live Weather coming up here after the commercial break, and that is going to be Snowfinder. In 60 seconds, we'll be looking ahead at how this next storm system, the one beyond the one that came through today, could actually produce a little bit of wintry stuff. Where, and maybe just as importantly, why it's not high confidence that you and I will see it, but also not impossible for some locations. As Mississippi Live Weather continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center right after this. Again, join the conversation on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll be looking at that. I see MS, no snow for us. Not necessarily the case. We're talking about it next.
At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Hate is loud, but love is the majority.
You may see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lovehon.
Well, we are in the cloud cover, in the showers on the west side of Starkville. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live Weather. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopp, our meteorologist Gabe Maynard back in our studio. And as you kind of look outside of our camera in the Starkville area, we show what is primarily just lighter variety rainfall kind of progressing through. Yet to really get to our camera location there on the west side of town, though we've had a few batches of these showers. We're pretty much done as far as any sort of precipitation is concerned up here in the Tupelo area. Our camera brought to you by Mitchell Cunningham Bowling. Again, dry at this point, still that cloud cover, and you can see that wind rocking back and forth. The wind chill and how cold that gets, really a big part of how the forecast kind of portrays itself over the next couple of days, but it's still ongoing with the showers down in the Aberdeen area. Again, in Aberdeen, we've had some sprinkles, some showers around, a little bit of glossiness showing up on the roadway there, but again, they are wet, not icy. Those north winds, really cold. I mean, feels like 42 despite the fact that we don't even kick in the wind chill factor until we're in the upper 40s, so making a little bit of an impact there. Mama Justice Doppler radar, again, this is just lighter variety shower activity showing up here, stretching from around Mormon Springs and Hamilton there back toward the Strong community out here toward around Solingent and Pikeville. These are all relatively light showers, and again, as we mentioned, we do have a few back here closer to Starkville. How much longer till we're done with those? And again, we have a little sprinkle that's kind of shown back up here in the southern part of Pontotoc County, but this is all liquid variety stuff. To answer that question, we always got to figure out how far they've moved and then backtrack it there. So these are moving about 30 miles per hour or so. So we kind of continue to track this toward the south and east, about 30 miles per hour. We'll give you kind of a time frame. I'm going to track the back end. And so rather than time of arrival, which is a lot of times what we show here, we're going to show you time of conclusion at about that 30 miles per hour for some of these spots. Again, it's not a big movement there. Waddell, pretty much at the end of this now. The showers begin and then end for locations around Center Grove there, 511. We're looking at Bear Tush there at about 513. The White House community at about 514 there. Westville at 511. As again, these showers remain relatively light as they progress through some of those locations. Okay, so first things first, school day forecast for tomorrow brought to you by IMPC. It is not a snow day. Let's check the upset factor on that one in the chat there. We'll get to this here in a minute. But no, we are cold, really cold. Need to make sure, yeah, I mean, my daughter and I went back and forth on making sure she wore a jacket yesterday morning. I don't think there'll be a question. She'll want one tomorrow morning. You get to even the car, even in the garage, it's like, ooh, a little chilly. Yeah, that wind chill factor, teens in the morning. We're 35 by lunch and 40 by the final bell there. But no precipitation. We are cold, but the moisture is out of phase. So when could that align? Let's look at something you're going to see only on Mississippi Live. This is a brand new product that I just got done working on about 15 minutes ago. So this is being seen nowhere ever before, except for you and I talking about this and our snowfall chances. This is Snowfinder. Let's talk about what this is for a moment. Let's look up here toward the mountains. Mountains, colder, and up here north, you can see where it has these sort of purple colors. That would indicate spots where it's a very, very high likelihood that snow will occur. So these colors here represent the likelihood of something happening. So the likelihood is extremely high for higher elevations up there for now. So that's just kind of an idea of what it looks like. Let's talk specifically about us and how things play out here across the Magnolia State, because there will be snow in the Magnolia State this week in all likelihood. Let's talk about where, let's talk about when, let's talk about, we'll touch a little bit on how much. So clearly all that snowfall primarily up there in the mountains and the Smokies for now. And you can see also layered on here we have accumulations. That's where the accumulations are heavier. For us, when do our chances start showing up? You'll notice some green on the map starting as early as maybe Saturday morning. But let's talk about what we are looking at here for a moment. Do you see how this is that darkest green? That would then correlate up there on the top of the screen to a 10% chance of seeing some snowfall in those areas at that time frame, right? So while possible, highly unlikely. It's the likelihood, say, the difference between Gabe Maynard and I when we're playing basketball. If I'm going to shoot a free throw, my odds of hitting it are maybe 10%. Gabe's odds, it depends on if his legs are working, closer to 50, maybe 60%, and an NBA player might be 80 or 90%. So while we all have a chance, some of us have a greater chance. And so our chances are very, very low here as we go through noontime on Saturday. But as the meme said, so you're telling me there's a chance? Yes. But this shows that a very, very low likelihood, and you can see that low likelihood spreads across a large portion of the area. So this would be looking, two colors of green in, 20% at most kind of likelihood here of maybe seeing some snowfall there on Saturday at 3 p.m. What happens for us is that chance gets a little bit greater, maybe 30%, getting closer there, maybe 20, 25% for locations there closer to Columbus by 6 p.m. on Saturday. As we head into Saturday evening, notice how those colors start getting brighter. The likelihood of snow increasing for locations where we're depicting that. And notice where that starts to really get a lot heavier there. The likelihood much more substantial. Again, we're still only around 30% likelihood, but much more substantial for locations down south. What does this mean? This means, while possible, and you're going to see some projections, including right here at 6 o'clock, where we'll look at snowfall accumulations for our area, where they're most likely, and our projections do have a little bit on there. The likelihood is much, much greater down here to the south, and then shifting to the east, that there will be snowfall and potentially accumulating snowfall for some of those spots. Now, left behind on here, as those odds continue, as we're looking at Sunday morning, you can see how for locations back there into Georgia and out there toward the East Coast, the odds are much, much greater. For us, they don't necessarily line up. But an important takeaway, the reason why we do show the chance, the possibility of some accumulation being a little more significant down here closer to Hattiesburg or back toward Forest versus what we have up here, is the timing. This system rotates through at night, and at night it's not competing with the sun, and so the possibility of some accumulation is greater. But I think one of the takeaways as we show this kind of rotate out of here, and again the more significant snowfall move on out, is that while not impossible to see some accumulation, significant accumulations that means snowmen are unlikely for most locations. We will look at where they're most likely, and we will look at, well, we just showed you where they're most likely, and that would be farther south. But we will look at what amounts could potentially look like out of this based on a few of our projections that are actually in somewhat of an agreement on positioning on this. That's coming up here in a couple of minutes. But as far as tonight is concerned, these are just showers shifting from north to south through the area, heading down farther south there toward central Mississippi. As we kind of bring things in a little bit closer, behind this, it is the cold air that is the story. And we continue to again have those cold northerly winds into tonight, meaning wind chills even this evening were probably only 20s. And then overnight, we expect those wind chill temperatures to drop to where they're likely down there into, in many cases, probably the teens by early tomorrow morning under what should be, again, mostly clear skies. So low temperatures, let's go back to there. I zipped right past that for a second. Low 20s, really pretty cold out there. And again, to answer Selena's question there, she's like, so no snow for Golden? No. And it does look like we have kind of a back and forth going between Team Snow and Team No Snow as far as that's concerned. But this is a no snow situation for early in the morning. It is really cold where you do need to prepare. Make sure you have those faucet covers on there and make sure you're bundling up. Any exposed skin, like your hands, your face, gonna be cold. We're not quite the frostbite levels because we're probably not out in it long enough. But a very, very chilly start to early morning on your Thursday there. We're 17 for the wind chill temperature in New Albany, for Tupelo, for Amory, for Columbus, about 17 degrees. That's obviously well below normal and really cold. Coldest of the week easily with that. Northwest winds continue as we go through the day. No real big change there, but it's that drier air from this storm system still kind of coming in, dragging that moisture out in the Gulf of Mexico that kind of leaves us in the zone where, again, we stay dry, we stay clear as we progress into your Thursday. There's some of that snowfall we were talking about back out there for locations in the Smokies. Higher elevations, again, higher likelihood, and obviously nothing as far as we are concerned for your Thursday. So we are dry, we are cold, probably never feels as warm as this 42, 43 degrees here indicates. Again, normal high this time of year, 53, so a bit below that, and the wind chill temperature even in the afternoon certainly is going to be fairly cold there. We'll talk more about, again, all your comments here in a couple of minutes. You can join the conversation, Facebook, X, YouTube, always you can do that, and watch us anytime live in the Mississippi Live Weather app. As we progress here on Futurecast through 8 p.m., 9 p.m. tomorrow evening, we keep some clouds around, but really no meaningful precipitation across our region. I say that. Let's go back here, a graphic. I do want to show you that, again, the chance, if I can not click too fast here, let it play, let it stop. With a weak disturbance moving up north, there is the slightest, and this is where you kind of saw a little green come on the map there on the probabilities for late tomorrow night. That's this that is depicted here. I'm going to bring it in a little closer so we have kind of a full-on look at this here for a second. But this is all, again, fairly lighter variety showers up there. Jackson, Tennessee, back toward around Columbia and Bowling Green. Again, so this is not impossible. This is made up of a few flakes that way, but for our area, that's something that we're probably not going to end up seeing. So low temperatures on Friday morning. We've given this away about 3 times as we hit that there a second ago and going past the graphic. We're likely down there into the middle 20s with wind chill temperatures, also mid-20s, a sign that the winds are calmer by early Friday morning. As we go toward Friday afternoon, you can see here again mostly clear skies as we progress through the first part of that day. And again, most of the rainfall likely going to end up staying to our north and to the east. As this weak front, and you can call it a front, you can call it another trough, sort of shifts in the area, so do some limited rain chances here as we go toward Friday afternoon. But again, I still think at that point in time, we're still talking about just rainfall with this. So our next storm system here, kind of a combination, but largely comes from this front moving in from the north and west. And in order for us to get meaningful moisture, we typically need a storm system back out here into Texas that comes in at the correct angle. I do want to bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard here, who, we've been talking about this as we've gone through the day. Again, I'm going to bring you in for a moment. And Gabe, hold on, oh, I clicked on the wrong thing behind the scenes. Give me a second. And now we will see Matt and Chroma. Gabe. There you are.
There we go.
Thoughts on these systems combining. I feel like they're a little out of sync for this far north, but when you have the Gulf of Mexico right there, if you get it cold enough, it doesn't take quite as much.
You're right. I do think that with this system still being several days out, the positioning on it is going to change. Right now, some of those models lining up a little bit better with South Mississippi being the primary focal point, but I would not be shocked at all if this were to shift a little bit north, including maybe a county north or 2 counties north. So folks in the chat that are asking, so that's a no for my area. Not as of yet. I'm not completely ruling it out on that possibility just because it is several days out and trends do take it different directions. But just kind of reiterating what you said at the beginning, you know, those best chances still lie south. You have all that moisture building in, so it is still a saturated environment. The big question, and the question that I still have heading into this forecast that makes me doubt just a little bit, is temperature. What does it drop to by the time the snow enters into the area? Because you can get flakes that form aloft. But at the surface, if we're sitting 33, 34, 35 degrees, that's going to make the difference and melt that snow as it reaches the surface or potentially a little bit above the surface. So that's still one of the limiting factors.
That's where this graphic comes in here, right? There are all those questions. We know we'll probably have at least some flakes aloft in many locations. That's why most locations fall under some kind of likelihood, as you can see there. But this is not high likelihood. I mean, down here, this might be a 1% chance versus maybe a 10% chance versus a 20% chance, maybe 25 to 30% chance. So you can kind of see how, while there's a chance, the likelihood's not strong.
And the beauty
at this point, obviously, as we get closer, it could get much more significant.
Exactly, and the beauty of this graphic, and again, a Mississippi Live Weather exclusive, so you can only find it here on the channel. It's a great forecast for that snowfall graphic because we're talking about percentage of likelihood. And as you can see, we're only 10 to 20%. Honestly, I would be shocked if any graphic 4 days out gave above a 20 to 30% confidence because of how that's going to shift over the next couple of days. Short-range model runs, they're coming out heading into tomorrow, heading into Friday, and that's really going to up that confidence and maybe getting some yellows or reds or oranges in that forecast.
Exactly. So a highly confident scenario would be where you have lake effect snow, like up here near the Great Lakes. You have a body of water, it's open, it's warm enough, you get the cold air, so very, very high likelihood of the forecast being right. And so that's where, again, comparatively speaking, while yes, there is a chance, and for the deep south, that's a pretty decent look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially this close in, 3 days out, looking like there could be something like this. This is a decent chance, but it is by no stretch of the imagination a high likelihood, at least not at this point here. I appreciate that, Gabe. As we bring things back in here to the Room to Room Weather Center and back into the home studio for a moment here, I'm going to show you that 7-day forecast, and we'll kind of address some of your questions there. The real headline the next couple of days. And you see, we don't even have an official percentage on there. We probably, Gabe, should have a 20% on there, but I think that would apply too much. Actually, go back Chroma for a second. Let's talk about this briefly for just a moment while we're talking about this.
You want my thoughts?
We don't have a...
You want my thoughts on it?
Exactly. I want your thoughts, and I get your thoughts. It's probably the dry air, cold air, a little out of sync. There's a whole lot of reasons why it won't happen. Go for it.
If we were down south, there would be a 20 to 30% chance as of right now, even though long track models are not lined up. But that being said, there's not exactly a ton of moisture in North Mississippi whenever that frontal system is moving through. So yes, there is a percentage, the 10%, and I debated on going, 20%. But again, I don't want to, imply anything as of right now because we need a little bit more consistency before I'm fully sold on any of that winter precip taking place. So moving into the forecast tomorrow morning and into our Thursday afternoon, potential to see that climb to 20, potentially even 30%. But that is also something to address our confidence here at Mississippi Live Weather. And I'm similar to you. I was in between 10 to 20%. And I was kind of just like, which side do I go on? You have the angel on one shoulder, devil on the other, and it's kind of saying, hey, go this way. No, go this way. And I was kind of stuck between the two. So you can go either way.
And I think, again, it reiterates the fact that this is not high confidence at this time period here. That's our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor. I appreciate that. Again, the conversation ongoing in the chat over to the side. Some folks excited, some folks anything but. For folks in Central and South Mississippi on Team Snow there, the odds are increasing substantially. And we have some pretty decent likelihoods showing up in some of our projections. That's one thing we will talk about during our 6 o'clock broadcast. Gabe is trying to get my attention over there, so I'm going to go back to him here real quick. Okay. Gabe, what you got?
Real quick, and I've seen a few questions in the chat addressing the moisture that's happened right now, going below freezing overnight, asking, is it going to freeze on the roads? No. And the big reason why, and Matt was talking about it, it is going to be a gusty forecast overnight. Those winds dry up the ground, and so any of that moisture that is sitting there, and it's not a ton of significant moisture, that all is going to dry up before we get below freezing. So no, we don't have to worry about black ice or anything of that matter as we go about our Thursday morning commute. Also saw a few questions addressing the chance for freezing fog. Again, with the winds being what they're at, we do not expect any of that freezing fog or any fog to form for that matter, and those winds will continue to increase on the backside of this frontal system, and these are sustained winds, not even the gust, and we're talking 10 to potentially 20 miles an hour at times as we work through those overnight hours, and you can really see it on wind chill as you see those temperatures currently in the low to mid 40s, but feeling right around freezing as we head into our 5 and 6 o'clock hours. So these are feels like values, and that's going to continue to drop into those overnight hours, but it requires the actual temperature for any of those freezing conditions to take place. And fortunately, I think that all that dries up before any of that moisture is able to make an impact on our forecast. And one other thing I was going to say, because just addressing some of the things in chat, and Matt, you were talking about a school day forecast at the beginning of the broadcast. Unfortunately, when is the snow potentially moving into Mississippi? It's Saturday.
Saturday.
And then
maybe.
what's Monday?
Yeah.
What is Monday? MLK Day. So you're already off on Monday.
Yes, right.
It happens on Saturday. So we have above freezing temperatures Sunday. If any of that were to stick around, it's going to melt by Monday afternoon. So teachers, students, unfortunately, if this were to verify, I don't think this is going to exactly impact our school plans. I don't think we're going to take a day out to enjoy it. We'll already be out to enjoy it. So it doesn't affect the schedules. And I know there's some fans of that and some people that want a day off of school. So you got to weigh both of those, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Now, coming up here during our broadcast at 6 p.m., one of the things we're going to be looking at is kind of weighing different model projections here related to this. We talk a lot about consistency. When models show the same things over and over again, it drives our confidence. We do have some consistency showing up in a few of our models. And so that's one of the things that could impact that possibility. We'll be tracking the very latest on that here in the Room to Room Weather Center during our 6 p.m. broadcast. And of course, obviously tracking the tweaks and changes the next couple of days here coming up at 10 p.m. Like, subscribe, follow, and thank you so much for your support of us here on Mississippi Live Weather. We'll see you at 6.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.